The sea is turbulent and the wind strong. It takes over a week until anything like routine is established on board. We have to get used to the permanent rocking of the boat, the sounds on board and life on board. Every day we follow the weather report and the position of the other boats. Other ARC pilots come into view only seldom, but we know the others are only a few miles away from us. It starts to get warmer and the weather more changeable. There are no pictures of the events that follow. We don't take any pictures whenever it gets really bad. Naturally enough, we are busy then with other things. After 15 days at sea, unannounced and in the dead of night, we are hit by a so-called squall. This is what a very fast-developing storm front is called, and it is often accompanied by very strong winds. Due to a series of mistakes by the skipper on this day and night, the Stormvogel suffers some serious damage. After a really hellish night, parts of which we no longer remember, the next morning we are blessed with a picture-book fair-weathered dead calm. Flat seas as far as the horizon. During the night, unnoticed, a line has caught in the ship's propeller and blocked it. The skipper spends one long day in exhaustive dives trying to unblock the propeller. Although this is successful, it becomes apparent that the transmission is damaged. We thus float helplessly at high seas in the dead calm, but we are no longer in danger. We can't motor out of the area of calm as we'd normally have done, but everything else on board is working perfectly and we have enough provisions for weeks. We just have to be patient and wait for wind. When the wind springs up again, it's only 800 sea miles to St. Lucia. We sail extremely carefully. Bad mistakes should only be made once in a lifetime. That's not going to happen to the skipper again, that's for sure. Overjoyed, we reach Rodney Bay on St. Lucia in the Caribbean under sail early in the morning of December 20th, 2012. Our friends from the Morny are already waiting and tow us into the harbour. At 2 a.m. we are greeted with ice-cold rum punch, and our relief at having arrived safely is really indescribable. Much later, I formulate this sentence. It is the grandiose moment of arrival that makes this typical voyaging so unique. Newly arrived in the Caribbean, we experience the unexpected rush of all things new. The utter exhaustion after every strenuous journey softens the new impressions of foreign smells, foreign people, unknown fruits and unfamiliar colors. After weeks of every type of blue tone comes really lush green. Although we once again have to have extensive repairs done to our Stormvogel, we slip surprisingly easy into life in the Caribbean and discover the lightness of being. The Queen Mary 2 is already there and many passengers disembark onto shore. We prefer to avoid the hordes of tourists. We remain on St. Lucia for good 2 weeks. We explore the island on foot, with car and by boat. The 2 dominant cone-shaped mountains on the islands are called pitons and are surrounded by lush rainforests. St. Lucia has been independent only since 1979. It has a population of 170,000 and English is the native language. More than twice that many tourists come here every year. And if that's not enough, annually over 650,000 cruise ship guests visit the beautiful island for a few hours. The few good anchor coves are full of yachts from all corners of the earth. Rum punch is our favorite drink for some time, so we visit a rum distillery and taste all the products produced here. The neighboring island to the north of St. Lucia is Martinique and belongs to France. As our Aldi Talk telephone automatically joins the mobile network, we are greeted with "Welcome to the EU." The euro is the currency on Martinique, and the supermarkets offer really everything that you can buy in the south of France. This is good, because the supply situation on St. Lucia is pretty limited. The old houses are either lovingly renovated or on the point of collapse. The small town of St. Pierre in the north quickly becomes our favorite place on the island. Although there are only black volcano beaches, we find the quiet village life directly on the water's edge very attractive. We sail to another island further north, to Dominica, not to be confused with the Dominican Republic. Only 70,000 inhabitants live here, and the island appears to be quite poor. How closely rich and poor live side by side in the Caribbean. Victoria Falls is a must for adventurous tourists on Dominica. The waterfall can only be reached by hiking through the jungle, and you need a good guide to find the way. We cross a huge, ice-cold river several times and ask ourselves whether we will really make it. A very refreshing dip in the pool at the waterfall rewards us for our efforts. The way back is not half as bad. A few days later, we take part in an Indian River tour in a canoe in the north of the island and experience the virgin forest up close, this time sitting down without any great effort. We set sail again southwards and stop over once again in St. Pierre on Martinique. Carnival is taking place here at the moment, but somehow it doesn't look like it does in Germany. The Caribbean islands are very different. The contrast between blatant richness and bitter poverty is sometimes difficult to cope with. We visit Maupiti, an island for the rich. Very beautiful, very orderly, and very sterile. We continue on to the Tobago Cays, a small group of islands with a large anchor area behind a reef. There are at least 50 yachts at anchor here. Turquoise blue water, sand beaches and palms. This is pure Caribbean, exactly as you would imagine. The Cays are uninhibited. Traveling traders come over in boats from Union Island and sell us souvenirs and groceries. You could stay here for many weeks. Kojak, the stocky trader in his green Moor fresh motorboat, sells fresh fish and lobsters, grilled on the beach. The skipper's birthday is coming up, and Kojak is commissioned to organize a special evening meal on the beach. Kojak delivers lobster, salad and rice, and we bring French wine, beer and good cheer, which is enough for an unforgettable beach party. Life is really kind to us. We leave this part of the Caribbean via Union Island and Grenada. Our destination is Bonaire, one of the 3 ABC islands, only 380 sea miles away. The journey far away from the north coast of Venezuela is undertaken with mixed feelings. Now and again we hear reports of pirate attacks on yachts. It is unbearably hot and quite deserted on Bonaire. Only 18,000 inhabitants live on this former Dutch colony. A few tourists also come here, but primarily salt is produced in the south of the island. To do so, large areas of the land are flooded with sea waters. The water evaporates in the dazzling sun and the sea salt is left behind. The salt they extract from this is heaped together with bulldozers and shipped across the sea all over the world. After a few days of rest and exploring the island, we continue on, as always, further westwards.